co-chair of the National Story Day Committee and also a delegate to the National Congress of Australia's Young Peoples. Please welcome Anka.
Buongiorno, Gary Gugliora, and good day and welcome to Gary Gugliora. Yes, national conversation doesn't exist anymore. It was one of the organisations that was actually disbanded by former government, so that sort of puts into context that about the voice, treaty and truth, I think, because if we can't have a voice into Parliament to the politicians, which we don't, and they don't like what you're saying, then they disband it, is what happens. It was a very fair, it was an interesting organisation because it had gender equality, 3 different chambers, one for individuals, one for national organisations, one for the other organisations, but it was all 20 delegates in each chamber, 20 men and 20 females, so it was done in a way that I think sets an example that we need to have all voices at the table. And there is a climate crisis. Mother Earth has been speaking to us, hasn't she? Yes. And she's been speaking louder and louder each year. We can see the cyclone off Western Australia came onshore, and then also the fires that we've had, the firestorms, and then also the floods we've had. Clearly demonstrates that Mother Earth is not happy with us. We haven't been caring for country and we haven't been looking after her. And Mother Earth provides us with everything we have in our lives. Everything from our buildings and society that we created, to the clothes we wear, to the food we eat. Everything is provided by her. Also, it's important to understand, as Australians, we have responsibility to look after Aboriginal culture and sites, because they're not just Aboriginal people's cultures and sites, they're your culture and sites for the wider community to protect for humanity itself. I know your phones are on silent, but I'll get you to get your phones out because I want to show you a couple of things. So on the right side, I think it's always important to educate people and put context. On the right side here, I will get you to look, well, my right, your left, I will get you to look at Huntingbird Manuscript Vatican, and on the left, my left, I will get you to look at Brewarrina fish traps, It's important, yes. I've been talking to people about this for the last probably 6 to 7 months about how important this is. And you know that we did trade up the top with sea cucumbers, up the top up there, with the Macassans, and there has been an ABC story recently about Aboriginal people who migrated to the Macassa there, and yes, we traded with them. We traded amongst ourselves for 65,000 years, but we've traded with them up into Indonesia and up into China. I made the point last year when China and Australia celebrated 50 years of Gough Whitlam opening the diplomatic talks. And the Chinese ambassador and the consuls, I wanted to make the point that we have had a friendship before, based on trade and based on sharing culture and stories, and we need to think about those things moving forward. As I understand it, it made a good point from when Penny Wong went over to China and through those relationships. I know the previous federal government said they had the first trade agreement with Asia and Indonesia, but obviously that's fake news if we've been trading for 400 to 500 years with the sea cucumbers. What do you see in the Huntingbird manuscript in the Vatican? You see a very familiar face, yes. And what is it? An Australian cocky. Australian cockies in there. Sorry? Well, almost 800. It's 1241, so just shy of a couple of decades of 800 years. So that reinforces that we did trade and we interacted with the world. And also, what did you find for the Brewarrina fish traps? Yeah, the engineering and aquaculture, because the stones designed the way we create ponds to attract the fish. They're the oldest known human construction in the world today. They're more than 40,000 years old. Yes, 40,000 years old. So we need to remember these things and protect them. She has been flooded of late, obviously, with the floods that I was just talking about. It's important we do take a moment of silence to pay respects to our ancestors, pay respects to those who've gone before us, the struggles and achievements they've had, also to pay respects to those we've lost in the pandemic. And we need to remember we are still going through a pandemic. We've still got a couple of years to go. I know that's hard for people, but we still need to remember that with winter coming up. And then also remember the people we've lost, they weren't just numbers that were coming up. They're people and numbers online. They're people who have their own dreams and aspirations, and they're part of families and they're part of communities. They have their own name and their own ambitions, as I said. And we need to pay respects to Mother Earth and to reflect our journey here right now and think about that we are on a living planet. This is clearly demonstrated recently with the earthquakes and, as I said, the storms that we have, the quite massive storms around the world that are happening, and we need to respect her. So if we have a moment of silence and a moment of reflection, thank you and paying respects. We have those three beautiful waterways, Georges, Laverne and Hawkesbury, which are the aquatic boundaries of the Eora Nation. To any of my Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander brothers and sisters out there, we warmly welcome you from country, from clan, from tribe, from nation, and to all our brothers and sisters, we belong to that one tribe humanity. We warmly welcome you from your family, your neighbourhood, your community, and ultimately the country you come from. We share little planet Earth, a blue sphere floating through the ever-expanding cosmos. We have similarities, but we have our differences. It's important to respect our diversity and to treat people with dignity and respect. It would be a very boring world if we're all the same, wouldn't it? And the different perspectives and ideas that we can draw on from our diversity should be able to solve problems in the world, and it shouldn't be we shouldn't be marginalised in that. And you can see we need to have our leadership. Leadership is about sympathy, empathy, this is good leadership, and also about communication, it's about building capacity, and it's about listening to evidence and basing decisions on facts and evidence. We have seen leadership in the last decade that has not been doing this, and that's where you tell people to radiate yourself or inject yourself with bleach. Yes, and not good, and quite toxic leadership. And we've had the first war in Europe in 77 years started, which is another terrible example of leadership, not what we want. We can do better. For a metropolitan like Aboriginal Land Council, our members and board, welcome here. It's important, as I said, to respect the planet and look after her, mother. And always was, always will be Aboriginal land never ceded, and we can do great things when we work together and walk together. We have voice through the truth. Voice is just one component of moving forward. And an Aboriginal child born up the road up here now in a hospital is around 10 years life expectancy difference, and it's 14, I think, around the regional remote. So we can do better, and we need to do better. I'll leave you with those thoughts, and it's great everyone coming together. Thank you.